you're veterans now. It's weird. You're now essentially the leaders of the program. So what are you two doing to prove yourself as leaders other than just stars on the field? But what are you doing with the team in the weight room? What are you guys doing to make you guys be these veterans?
First off, I think we're just trying to, especially both of us, hold everybody accountable. I mean, we even hold each other accountable if we're a little late to something, but just being able to hold our receiver core, quarterbacks, and then the rest of the team, everybody has to be held accountable.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like Mikey said, I think that it starts with us. We have to be the guys that are on time, showing up early, doing the work that needs to be done, and then from there, I think that our teammates are probably more likely to listen to what we have to say. And then just on top of that, just communication with everybody, being able to talk, see how guys are feeling, getting their feedback on things, if they like something, if they don't like something, and then just trying to do the best that we can to make sure that everybody's happy and wants to work together and create a good team.
And then looking into 2019, easy question. What excites you guys the most?
Playing football. Getting those pads on again.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm looking forward to. I think we have a lot to build on from last season, and so I'm looking forward to carrying that into this one. And we got a lot of veteran guys that are hungry, and we want to win more games. We got a taste of it last year, and that hunger is just fueling us all right now. So I'm looking forward to next season for sure.
Yeah, what's kind of the overall mindset among the seniors? Because there are a lot of you, and you've been through 2 win seasons, and you had a better year last year. I don't know. Is there more of a sense of urgency or more pressure that you put on yourself, knowing that this is kind of your year and your last year?
I don't really think that there's more pressure. I can't speak for all the seniors on the team, but as far as from my point of view, I think that consistency is going to be a big thing moving into next year. We want to. There were some games, there's always those games. The Big Sky's tough, so there's always those games where it's like you may not come out with your best, but we have to make sure that we're consistent and we're coming out with our best every single game, because anybody in the Big Sky can beat you at any time, and I think that we can beat anybody at any time. So,
what from last year are you guys trying to build off of to continue into this year? Tennessee mentioned finishing strong, but what is something that you look back on the last year and you go, we're going to carry that into 2019?
Yeah. I would agree with him saying finishing.
Yeah, I mean, finishing is a big part of it for sure. I think it's it was good last year to get that taste of winning and to be in those. We had some games late in the season that were ones that if we win those, there's a chance we make the playoffs. There's a chance we're competing for a Big Sky title, and it's finishing is right up there with if we were able to finish those games, then we would have been in the position to be in the playoffs and stuff like that. So I think that finishing is probably an accurate assessment.
Mike Farrer just said it's going to be hard to replace Tanner, but he also said that the other 3 guys are working really hard and that you're going to have a good starter either way. I guess, Mikey, you might have played with them more in the spring. What did you see out of Gunner and Struck and those guys, and how do you think life's going to be different post Gueller era, I guess?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a little different. I think Tanner was kind of one of a kind, but these guys are too. So being with both of them in the spring, kind of rotating in throughout the whole time, both of them have their, they're a little different in some aspects, but they both put the ball in the same spot, which is good. But no, I'm looking forward to these guys. So far, we've been out there throwing, and it feels good. It feels good with those guys.
Yeah, and Mitch, for you, I guess, same thing. And how long do you expect it to take to, kind of develop a new chemistry with whoever ends up being the starter?
Well, it's going to have to be accelerated, I feel like. With Tanner, what you saw last year was 3 years of Mikey and I working with him and running routes and getting that timing down. And now we have, 3 months before season. So less than that, actually. But we're just going to speed it up. Those guys they're doing a great job working in the, getting the film study going, working out on the field, doing everything they need to do. And then I think for Mikey and I, it's just we just need to stay consistent and do what we do so we can be in the same spot and give those guys a consistent look, something that they're used to. And if they can build that trust in us, and then that boosts their confidence in their play. So I think that's it.
You guys have a really tough schedule, just in general on the road. You've got most of the state of Utah, and even people who are coming to Holt Arena. You got Eastern Washington and so on. So when you see a schedule like that, does that excite you? Does that because I remember talking to, I think it was both of you last year before Cal, and one of you or even somebody said this is exciting because we get to see our match of the caliber between their athleticism and ours. So when you look at your schedule, what stands out to you? What don't you like? What you do like? What about it?
I mean, I'm pretty excited, honestly. I think the better teams we play in conference only makes us better, prepares us for the next week. That consistency of, tough game after tough game, that helps us by staying up high.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd agree. I guess I don't think the schedule is any tougher than any other year. In the Big Sky, you never know. I mean, every team's going to be good. Any team can beat any other team. So like Mikey said, I think that, we have some of the perennial good teams in our schedule this year, and it's going to be a challenge to go in, week out, and prepare for those teams. But I think it's a good challenge, and it gets us ready for our hopes of making the playoffs. Every single team in the playoffs is going to be a good team. Week in, week out, we gotta bring our best, and we're gonna have to beat the best. So I enjoy it. I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be a good challenge, but I think it's great that we get to play some of the better teams in our conference and see where we stack up. Even
Northern Iowa, I think that would be a really good game for us. Kind of like with Virginia last year, even though they're FBS, that is a game we would play in the playoffs. So going to a place like that, a different atmosphere than kind of what we get over here on the west, or in the mountain area. But I think that'll be good for us as well.
Is that one of the main goals you guys have this year, is to make the playoffs, especially since you were close last year?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just making the playoffs is I think a team goal. I don't want to speak for the team. I think everybody wants to be there, and then just making a run in the playoffs. And before that though, we got to do well in conference, and we have to set our sights on a Big Sky championship first and foremost.
I guess that's actually what my question was going to be, is personally or as a team for the season. I mean, what is your goal?
Win. I mean, keeps running back in my mind of what Mitch said, being consistent. If we can stay consistent and keep that and hold each other accountable, I think we have a pretty good season. So it's just maintaining that throughout a 12-game run. That is going to be a little tougher, but I mean, last year we went 10 games, so kind of a similar setup, but just sticking to that.
Yeah. No, I think it's, like Mikey said, consistency game to game is going to be one of those smaller goals. Every single week you have goals for the team that you're playing. And then obviously the overarching goal for the season is going to be winning a Big Sky championship and then making the playoffs and making a run in the playoffs. But I think it comes down to just staying consistent, focusing on every game. It's, every single game on our schedule is a playoff game, and we gotta approach it like that.
And then last question for me, being that last season ended a little sour with the losses, and then we kind of fall out of that playoff run, does that almost, I guess, essentially kick you guys in the butt to push for more, or was it anger? I mean, after that season kind of ended, what was the reaction, and how did you guys learn from it?
I would say coming out in winter. I mean, our winter was probably is the strongest we've had since I've been here, whether it's out on the field, 6 a.m. in the morning, or it's in the weight room. But I think going into this, it's something we'll think about, but it won't be like a huge factor. Like, oh, this happened at the end of the season. Almost like a fresh new look. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's. I mean, obviously, we would have wished that last year ended differently, but having that sour taste in your mouth, I think, kind of makes you look at some things and approach them differently. You know, it's essentially a taste of failure, so you kind of have to look back on yourselves and look internally and see what we could have done better. And it's something that I think that a lot of the guys on the team have done. So it's something, you know, moving forward, we have that in our history, and so we know what we don't want. So now I think we can approach it differently.